Coming at you live. We're live streaming right now from San Diego Comic-Con. We are in the back. We have hidden underneath. Chris Hemsworth was nice enough to wear his cape to the Marvel panel, and we just kind of like hid under that. So if you see some lumps rolling behind him, there we are.
Indeed. Thanks for having me, Jay. It's great to be here at San Diego Comic-Con again.
Wait, what's that? Is that Chris Hemsworth? At least making a challenge for me. That was Chris. That was nice of you to make that comment. All right, what?
What? Nothing.
He's a very beautiful man, and he has a very kind heart.
Yes, he does. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very happy with him. Very happy with his face and his looks and who he is.
Regardless, we're not at San Diego Comic-Con.
No, we're not. We lied.
Very sad.
Our news credibility is gone now.
Out the window. We're like CNN. Got him.
Got it. Boom. Nice.
Anyways, there is a lot of news from San Diego Comic-Con where we are not.
Correct.
But we are able to round up a lot of that from the comforts of our own middle-class home.
Absolutely. Yes. I would give you middle class for sure.
Thank you. Maybe lower middle class.
I'm a little underneath you.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Here we are. Here I am. There's a lot of MCU news. There is a little bit of DC news as well.
Just a little sprinkle. We'll start with the MCU.
Yeah,
news,
what have we got
mind.
going on with MCU? We've got a whole list of Phase 4 movies.
Exactly. They announced Phase 4 is essentially what happened here. And a few of them we were expecting, of course. But I'm just going to run through all the movies, and then we'll go from there. So, starting out, we have Black Widow, releasing on May 1st, 2020. We then move on to the Disney Plus show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's fall 2020. We have The Eternals. That's coming out November 6th, 2020. And then we have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, February 12th, 2021. Wandavision, spring 2021. And then we have Loki, spring 2021 as well. So 2021 is really going to be a big year for it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we top it off with... Actually, no, we don't top it off. There's a few more. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh.
May 7th, 2021. We got What If? That's a animated Disney Plus show that's coming summer 2021. Hawkeye, fall 2021. That's Disney Plus as well. And then Thor, Love and Thunder. That is coming out November 5th, 2021.
And that's the one we're going to end up talking the most about, I think, you and me. That's the thing we're both excited most about, but we do want to run through what these other projects actually are first.
Definitely, yeah.
With my squeaky chair, hopefully minimizing the amount of sound output here. But, so...
Like we said, middle class.
Yeah, middle class, absolutely. Bought a new TV, didn't buy a new chair.
No.
So, Black Widow, we know, is a prequel movie. We do know this.
Correct.
Another thing that we know is, at least according to Scar Joe's wonderful comments, is that Black Widow will be in this broken down place and we'll watch her build herself back up and put her pieces together again.
Correct.
Whatever that means.
Correct.
We don't know a lot about it. I saw Budapest mentioned in a lot of articles.
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah, as if it was like a Budapest thing that they had mentioned in the movies, but I wasn't sure exactly
because that came up in Avengers 1. Did it come up again or no? I don't remember.
I thought it came up in Endgame, but I could be wrong. I thought they mentioned it briefly in Endgame.
That's very possible, because Endgame is so long.
Yes.
It's very easy to miss some little thing in it. But for those of you who don't remember, like she mentioned Budapest to Hawkeye, I believe twice throughout the Avengers, like the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be like a major event in her life, because isn't that when Hawkeye comes to kill her and like makes a different call?
I believe so.
And that is if everything that she told Loki was actually true, and not a spin on that story, because there could be something else to it.
It's a great point.
Because when she reveals that bit of information in the Avengers, it's when she's interrogating Loki to like get information out of him. It's also a really cheesy scene, probably my least favorite Avengers scene. The "read in my ledger" dialogue is awful.
Yeah, that's not great.
But that's not her fault.
No.
Scarlett Johansson was amazing in the movie. I just think Joss Whedon had some clunky dialogue in that first film.
There was a few. It was a bit campy at times, I guess. Which was really fine.
Yeah, it's fine for the time. I'm really glad they moved away from it. Even in Age of Ultron, I know that's not really anyone's favorite, but it did go for this more serious tone, which I think regardless of how you feel about Age of Ultron, it helped pave the way for some of the best MCU movies like Civil War and Infinity War. If the events of Age of Ultron hadn't happened, like with Sokovia, you wouldn't have the Sokovia Accords. You wouldn't have the fallout between Cap and Iron Man. You just wouldn't have any of that stuff. So I don't know. I guess they kind of went a different direction with that movie, and I think the MCU's been different since Age of Ultron.
Definitely.
Like, we're still feeling the effects of it in the major events.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm sure that we'll be feeling the major events of what is referred to as the snap or the blip or whatever, like whatever you want to call it, like from different Marvel movies. We'll be seeing that for a long time too, in the same way we saw Sokovia.
You do see it in, I don't even seen it yet, but they do mention it in Far From Home. Like, they talk about it. There's, like, some cool, funny scenes with that, too. So, yeah, they definitely, I think, are going to be referring to it for a while.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's an event that changed the entire Marvel universe.
Right.
And it really kind of ushered in this talk about the multiverse and everything. So the MCU's gone in an interesting direction. I can't talk.
Right, no, I get it. And I did want to mention quick that there was a like a quick blip. I don't really have like a source or anything, but I saw that there are reportedly going to be multiple Black Widows.
Yeah, I saw that in an IGN article as well. Like after you told me that, there was also some footage shown. 2 people at San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay.
We don't know all of what's in that because we weren't there. We know some of the reports. We do know that the Red Guardian is going to be in this movie. He's essentially the Russian Captain America.
That's cool.
That's the easiest way to phrase it. I mean, like, someone in the comments is going to go in here and be like, well, actually, he's the blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, there is more to the Red Guardian than that. That is the simplified normie way to explain who the Red Guardian is.
Normie, I like that.
I mean, it is. Look, here's the thing. We're aiming this podcast at pretty much everybody from, like, the most hardcore comics, Marvel nerd, DC nerd, like we are, to just everybody. And as much as we love the source material, I don't know everything about Black Widow. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't.
No.
So,
I don't know really anything, to be honest, aside from the Marvel movies. So
yeah, I know the Marvel movies, and I know, like, bits and pieces from things like Avengers storylines and stuff like that from the comics. I don't know everything about her. So a lot of these characters, it's like there's little things that slip through the cracks that we find out later, either on our own or through other sources. The Black Widow is a movie that I'm interested in. Let's just say this, by the way. Spoilers on the table for Endgame completely, right? Like, all spoilers on the table for this.
Absolutely.
To talk about this. The thing with Black Widow is that I feel like it's very interesting. It's lost a little bit of weight because of where we know her story ends already. To the point of, not that I don't care at all, but she has a pretty complete character arc.
Yeah.
In the MCU. So, like, I'm excited to see ScarJo come back. I love her. I think she's a fantastic actress. She does a great job in that character role. And I think there is a chance to kind of do more of like a James Bond, Atomic Blonde type of thing with this character because she's a super spy. That kind of stuff is interesting and you can do something with it. However, we kind of approach what I'm going to call the Loki conundrum, which we'll talk about in a bit with Loki, where it's like, we know where that story goes, at least for the version of the character we had. We had a complete arc. It could be really good, or you could have just chosen to move on. You know, that's kind of where I am with that one. I still really want to see it.
Oh, for sure. I definitely want to see it. I was, and we talked about it a little bit, and I don't want to get in like a huge, just because we have so much news to get into, but like, with Endgame, with her death, I kind of was hoping that Hawkeye would be the one that would die.
Yeah, 100%. We don't really like him nearly as much.
No.
Jeremy Renner's a good actor.
He is.
So that's not a reflection on Jeremy Renner.
He just doesn't have like a lot of really interesting stuff going for him.
No, there's not an interesting story.
He's a family man and he can shoot bow and arrows really well. So
he's more boring Green Arrow to me.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to Green Arrow fans. I like Green Arrow, by the way.
Yeah.
But the argument against Green Arrow is he's already more boring Batman.
Okay, yeah.
So if you already have more boring Green Arrow, it's like, we're hitting a point where it's like,
how boring can we get here?
Yeah. Well, how many levels down can we go with this same idea?
Right.
I guess would be. So I don't know.
No, for sure. I want to see the movie for sure. I think I didn't mind that they killed her off, and I think it'll be a cool prequel to see. Hopefully, like the Budapest thing that they talked about, just to wrap everything up. Fully, and then it's done. We're good. So we'll see. You know, it's something we'll have to wait and see. So
I do like that with this. With this and Captain Marvel, I don't want to see like massive retcons where they say like, you know, like we're gonna change everything here. Like none of this mattered or something like that. You know, like they write something where it's like, oh, by the way, that thing that happened in Iron Man 1 didn't matter or something. I don't want to see that, but I like that they're showing they're willing to go back in the timeline too. So, you know, like show us something that happened 20 years ago or 10 years ago that we didn't see.
Right.
That's cool. Like, I'm down with that because, like, you can't just assume that the MCU just started when Tony Stark put on the Iron Man suit.
Right.
Like, it didn't.
That's a good point. That's a good point because there's a lot of stuff back there that we didn't obviously know about or we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of material to play with going backwards as well. It doesn't all have to go forwards with, like, new people all the time. You can go back and explore older routes, I guess. You know what I mean? So
older avenues, and I think that this is a good way to do that. I really hope it's a better way to do that than Captain Marvel was, without causing a controversy. I don't really think there's much special about Captain Marvel as a movie. It's fine.
I didn't like it, to be honest.
Yeah, and I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm really hoping for the best, especially because of ScarJo. She's phenomenal.
Definitely.
The next one, too, would be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Correct.
From fall 2020. What do you think about this one? Because we don't know tons about it yet. And you hadn't found more than me really on it, had you?
No, I don't. I don't know really much about it at all. I will say, Bucky is probably one of my favorite characters in the entire MCU. I love Bucky. I love the Winter Soldier. So for that alone, I'm going to watch it. And then the Falcon, I like Anthony Mackie. I like Sam. I like how he plays him. I think they'll be great characters. And there was some really good on-screen chemistry that we got just briefly
Between
in Civil War. Yeah. That we just got a little bit of a taste of. So I think actually seeing them have like a full show together will be really fun because I think they're fun actors. I think it'll be a fun show with really, really good action. Because I mean, Winter Soldier has some of the best hand-to-hand combat that you see in the MCU. Just the way that he moves, just his choreography, and then Sam Wilson. He's just a funny, cool character as well. I think I like Bucky more. The Winter Soldier's definitely one of my favorite characters, but it'll be cool to see what they do and to see how they have the new Cap and what they do with that, and if he's going to be involved with, I guess, like Nick Fury or kind of what the deal is there. So I think that'll be interesting to see where they go with it.
Well, yeah, and we do know that, again, spoilers on the table for Endgame, and I'm only saying that because I don't know how I'm going to cut up this into news videos, too, so I'm going to keep bringing that up. With Endgame, we know that Sam got the shield now.
Right.
He's going to be the new Cap, but there's still... It's not Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I think I said wrong, possibly at the beginning. I don't know if I said Captain America.
Oh, I didn't even notice. If you did, I didn't notice.
But in the comics, obviously, Falcon becomes a version of Captain America eventually, which that's what's going on here. We know it's after Far From Home. We don't really know fully what's going on, but we do know that Baron Zemo is back. That is one piece of information we know from Civil War.
I thought he died.
No, remember he went to prison. He was put in the box.
Oh, you're right.
They put him in the Winter Soldier box.
For some reason, I thought Black Panther killed him. But
no, he chose not to.
That's right.
We also know that he's masked this time in his purple mask.
Okay.
I'm not even looking at the docket for this. I see your confused face.
Yeah,
I looked up another article about this too to talk more about it because I realized I had not gone in depth enough on this.
Gotcha.
We use a podcast docket that we write up ahead of time just so we don't get too off topic.
Right. It's been failing horribly so far.
It has, yes. But we also know that the show is written by Malcolm Spellman, who worked on Empire. John Wick writer Derek Kolstad will be joining in on it. And it's going to be obviously Disney Plus, which we mentioned. A lot of other stuff we don't know yet. Baron Zemo is like the big thing that was revealed.
Okay.
Other than that, without getting too deep into opinion stuff, personally, I wish this was a little bit the other way around. I like the version better in the comics of Cap, where it's Bucky as Cap instead of Falcon as Cap. Sam's a good character. I like him. I personally am wondering if he was chosen to be Cap over Bucky so that they didn't relegate another black character to sidekick status. I don't know that. I'm not trying to understate his importance to the MCU.
No. It's a safe... I think it's a reasonable connection to make, though. Just because that's...
That's what they did to War Machine. He kind of got... If you watch the original, like, Iron Man 1, 2, 3, Cheadle's War Machine is fantastic. He really got pushed down into black sidekick territory, though.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
Yeah,
like really took the shadow of... And it's RDJ. I feel like anybody, like, you could put another white actor next to him.
Doesn't
they'd be
matter.
in the shadow of RDJ.
Right.
But I get how that looks bad if you keep doing that. It looks insensitive. It looks kind of douchey, especially when you're trying to go in this direction of not ignoring white characters, obviously, but like of introducing more types of characters. Like you have Black Panther, you have
now Shang-Chi, as we mentioned.
Shang-Chi, yeah, and you also have I know she's white, but the female-led Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And now moving into the female-led Black Widow.
Right.
That you don't really want that look, especially after the whole Tilda Swinton thing. Tilda Swinton? I can't talk. I can't speak today. She was, she was the Ancient One. She was the white woman who was cast to play a typically Asian part.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because the Ancient One was usually Asian.
Okay.
In pretty much every depiction of the Ancient One.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And that was a big controversy. That looked pretty bad for Marvel. So I don't know if that's the direction here. It's hard for me to say for sure that's it, because I also don't want to undercut his performance or say like that he's a token character at all.
Right.
I think, though, that this is a bit of a lose-lose in the sense where if they moved Bucky in, because there is more of a connection between Bucky and Cap.
Yes.
Through the whole trilogy. That is like a key component of the Cap trilogy. And he's in every movie of the Cap trilogy. Even one, which Falcon is not in. And he plays a big part in things like Infinity War. So it's like Bucky had a bigger part to play, I think, than Sam ever did, really. But I think it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you move Bucky in as Cap, you, in a way, tokenize, Sam, and say, like, oh, you're still a sidekick, deal with it.
Right.
But if you move in Sam, it's rough because people like me are like, but I like the Bucky version better of Cap. And Bucky and Cap have a stronger narrative connection. Like, it wouldn't... If Bucky was black and Sam was white, and they were written the exact same way, where Bucky was black and had that connection to Cap, it would not make a difference. Like, that's not the point.
Right.
The point is, because of who those characters are, you're kind of backed into a corner here.
From what we saw on screen, there was definitely, especially like, they had known each other, from what I understand, they'd known each other for years before he was even Captain America.
When they were kids.
Right. So, I mean, that's obviously, you'd think it'd be, but...
You'd think he'd get the shield.
Right. But it can go either way with that, which I was fine with them going with that.
It,
It's more of just kind of like your own preference, I guess, at that point. But I'm fine with it. I like him being the Winter Soldier, and I think that they'll be a really good combo together. I think it'll be. We don't really have any other direction idea of where they're going to go except for Zemo, right?
Right.
So,
that's pretty much it. That's all I really know about it.
Okay.
Again, it's not at all that I'm not excited for it. I still want to see it.
Yeah.
I just think that the narrative connection would have been stronger if Bucky was the new Cap.
Gotcha.
But I'm still down for it. I don't know. It's a nitpick, I guess, because they're still both in the movie. The one explanation, I think, for it, other than what I said, which it's, again, I don't want to say that is the sole reason, because I don't want to make anyone mad, mainly.
Right.
But the other obvious reason why they couldn't fully do that, maybe, is because Winter Soldier was a super terrorist. So I get them maybe thinking like maybe he shouldn't be the new Cap
because he
killed a lot of people,
including Black Panther's dad.
Yeah. But he was also brainwashed. So it's like if they were trying to go this narrative direction the whole time of like, well, yeah, he did that stuff, but he didn't really do it, like what they kind of did in Civil War and Infinity War, and he's a good person. That shouldn't matter.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a real toss-up. I'm conflicted on it. I'll watch it either way, so who even cares what I think about that?
Yeah.
Including
I know
me.
I don't.
Including me.
Or you.
Because if I'm going to watch it anyway, who cares?
Yeah, keep your opinions to yourself.
By the way, the next thing, the Eternals, I have almost nothing to say about
No, I don't have much for it.
We know almost nothing. We do know that it's November 6th, 2020 for the release date, supposedly now. These are all obviously subject to change. We also know that the Eternals are, in the comics, based off of a different evolutionary offshoot of humanity. They're sort of like mutants in that way, but they're their own thing. Mutants we haven't seen yet. There is mutant news, though, too.
Yes, yes, there is.
And there were these talks that Angelina Jolie was in talks to be in that movie, and that was back from March.
I think she was supposed to play Thena, I believe is what her name is. But yeah, just rumored for the cast so far, we've got Angelina Jolie, as Thena. And then there's a guy named Madong Seok.
I don't want to suck your dog.
I know, it's got a little bit of a provocative twist to it. Richard Madden, the guy who played, he was in Game of Thrones. It was one of the Stark, Robb Stark. So he's going to be playing...
Is he related to Tony Stark?
He is. He is. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Oh, cool.
And then Kumail Nanjiani, I'm just butchering this, is also cast in it. He's from Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory. Neither one of us can talk today.
What is going on today?
It's just a disease.
Big Bang Theory?
This is a disaster.
Big Bang Theory, the spin-off of Big Bang Theory.
But yeah, so there's some bigger name actors in it, so I think it'll be... I don't know who's directing it, but... yeah, I don't know anything about it.
But like,
we'll see.
It's weird. It's like, other than Incredible Hulk, there hasn't been a bad MCU movie. There's just been some average ones. So it's like, at worst, what? It'll be average.
Yeah.
At best, it'll be really good.
If at worst you're at Thor 2 levels, that's still
it's
not
still fun.
that bad.
No, because it was still fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Iron Man 2 is still fun. It's not a great movie, but it's fun.
You enjoy it. It's got the Marvel name on it, so it is what it is. You know, it'll do well. It'll get money. It's good.
And that's kind of a problem with Marvel too, that they're able to just print money off their name. But I think we've seen in Infinity War, Endgame, the past couple Spider-Man movies, they really have still stepped up the quality. They're not just banking on that.
No, they're making good stuff.
And I do think a little bit near the end of Phase 1 and the beginning of Phase 2, they were doing a little bit of that, of like, we're Marvel. Like, we just had the Avengers, piss off.
Right.
Like, I don't think they would say that they were doing that. But like, this idea of like, we're not going to mess up, it's fine. And there were some movies in there. Because of it,
there had to have been a little bit of an elevated sense of confidence. For sure. You drop $1 billion like that, and the Avengers was one of the biggest movies of all time, and you just throw that out there, and it's, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you feel like you got a bit of a cushion to work with.
Yeah, 100%, and they did.
They did, yeah.
They did have a cushion. It's just, I think they kind of used it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But then they came back with such high quality stuff that's like, who cares?
Yeah, I can't think of a really like not great, except for me, Captain Marvel. Everything else I've loved so far.
Yeah, and even Captain Marvel, to me, I know you really don't like it.
No.
I'm okay with it. Like, it's just like, meh.
Yeah.
It's like, not special at all. But it's okay. I didn't buy it. That should tell you something.
That is, yeah. That's,
Neither of us did.
No, I could, even though we were basically being forcefully told to when we go to Best Buy. There were 14 different levels of like a shelf. And it was all Captain Marvel.
Do you remember that one where it was 7 shelves down and it was only Captain Marvel?
There was nothing else.
And there's only like 2 or 3 versions of it, so I was like, why this many?
This is a lot.
The next thing, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Not to completely gloss over the things that we clearly don't care that much about.
Right.
But what I really care about in this is that the Mandarin's back. That's the understood revelation of this from San Diego Comic-Con. Not Aldrich Killian, not his fall actor guy buddy Trevor. And I enjoyed Iron Man 3 a lot. It's actually up there in terms of like really quality movies. Yeah, it was disappointing, but if you're looking at it objectively as a movie, it is really good.
Yes.
But people were disappointed by who the Mandarin was in that, and this is the real I got the rings Mandarin. We also had that revealed too way back in the Hail to the King short, that there was a real Mandarin floating around the MCU. We didn't know when he'd show up again. It's now. It's weird that it's, again, spoilers for Endgame, after Tony Stark is gone, because Mandarin is historically a Tony Stark villain.
Right.
An Iron Man villain. But it's interesting that with his passing, there are characters kind of coming out of the woodwork, that are back. And there is a hole left in the MCU from no Iron Man.
Yes.
That
and
other
Captain
characters,
America at this point too. Yeah.
That other characters are going to have to fill. And it makes sense too that villains in the universe would be aware of that. So it's interesting that Mandarin waited until now to come back. Like however they do that in the narrative. It's an interesting decision.
It will be cool. Yeah.
The next thing we've got is WandaVision. This is actually something I'm very excited for. But there's very little concrete information on WandaVision. Do you want to run through some of what we've got on that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So with WandaVision, you're looking at basically what the title is. You're looking at Scarlet Witch. Yeah, Scarlet Witch and Vision. Which, side note, didn't Vision, like, what happened with Vision in Endgame? Because we don't see him, obviously. He died in Infinity War.
Yeah, so the thing with Vision is that he is dead.
Yeah.
That's all we know. However, the stone was ripped out of his head. His body was left limp on the ground. Did he blow up, or was there just a big hole in his forehead?
No, just a big hole in his head. So I think unless they grabbed his carcass, which they probably did, unless they just left him in Wakanda.
It would have made sense that... No, I don't think they would have left him in Wakanda.
No, I don't think they
I also don't think they would have buried him because he wasn't human.
No. So what did they do?
I don't understand what happened in that 5-year gap, why he would have stayed dead that whole time, because I would have thought Tony would have tried to fix him.
Right.
But he clearly didn't. Unless they retcon that, which I guess they could. But it would have made sense to leave him with Shuri.
Yeah.
She's like probably the second most, if not the most intelligent person that's been shown in the Marvel Universe.
Technology-wise, yeah.
Yeah, probably
sure.
like tied with Tony.
Probably up there.
Or
yeah.
close. I don't know which is better. Because she has...
Hulk too, I guess.
Yeah, Bruce too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So you have like that kind of triumvirate of characters, and clearly Hulk didn't fix Vision, neither did Tony. We don't know what's going on in Wakanda during that big gap, except that they come back and still say Ibambe.
Right? Yeah, they do. Yeah,
so they didn't get a new catchphrase. But I don't know how they're going to do that.
No. See, that's why I was like, well, what about, like, you'd think because this was announced before Endgame. WandaVision. Like, we had an idea of it. So I was expecting some form of him showing up again. But he didn't. So
he didn't there. He very clearly will, because Bettany is in WandaVision.
Right.
So however they do that.
But even after the snap, though, after Tony's snap, we didn't see Vision at all, did we?
No, and didn't Hulk say... Well, he did. I don't know why I'm saying didn't he. Hulk said that he tried to restore other people, too, that had just died.
That's right, like
Black
Widow.
Widow.
Yeah, you're right.
So it stands to reason that unless he just didn't care anymore, which I would assume he did, he would have tried to revive Vision and the others as well.
Yeah.
Who were just killed by Thanos, and he couldn't.
Okay.
So I don't know how that's going to work, that they are able to revive him. It'll be interesting, because, I don't want to say that they're going to have to BS their way out of it, but they're going to have to find some way to bring those characters back without it being stupid.
Yeah, it's got to be logical.
Yeah,
so
that's
as much as logical as it can be, you know?
You can do it. Feige's a really good idea man, and they've got really good writers there. Some of these quotes, too, Feige had said, if you thought that the logo for WandaVision was strange, wait until you see this show. It's unlike anything we've done before.
Yeah. I like that.
Can I also mention, by the way, something not a lot of people are saying is that he said the logo was strange.
Oh.
And we know, before we're going to get into the Doctor Strange movie, but we know that Wanda's in it. So I'm wondering if there's any connection between Strange at all showing up in any role in
this you think Disney. He's doing wordplay?
Yeah, a little bit. They do that a lot in this industry.
They do. They're clever.
That said, there's also a lot of reading into something where they didn't say anything.
Right.
So it could be either.
And then, is it Elizabeth Olsen?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So she said about the show, she said, it's going to get weird. We're going to go deep. We're going to have lots of surprises. And we're finally going to understand Wanda Maximoff as the Scarlet Witch.
Well, look, I'm not trying to be awful here, because I have the utmost respect for Elizabeth Olsen. But I have been waiting since I saw Scarlet Witch on screen for her to go deep. So that's all I'm saying.
and get weird too. Yeah, dude.
I'm just kidding. She's an amazing actress. She does such a good job, and the character's so awesome.
Right.
That I do want to see that witch version of her. In the comics, she is much more magic based. She does a lot of telekinesis in these, of moving things with her mind,
right.
But not a lot of magic that you see. I know that is magic, but she's not out there casting spells and changing reality.
No.
In the movies. So they could do that. The other thing, too, is that in the comics, she was so powerful, she could rewrite reality with her words. So it'll be interesting to see if they power escalate her at all. Because the version we've seen so far, she's very powerful, but she's a very nerfed version of Scarlet Witch compared to the comics. And there's a lot of stuff you could do with Scarlet Witch that could explain how you bring in characters like mutants eventually. Like,
Yeah.
in the comics, like, she was able to wipe out nearly the entire mutant race by whispering the words "no more mutants" and casting a spell. And, like, 99% of mutants in the world dropped dead in the Marvel comics at that point.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like,
So
that's the power level of the comic.
That's crazy, because you don't see any kind of power like that in the movies, except maybe a little bit when she's about to, like, crush Thanos.
Yeah.
You know, in Endgame. You see maybe a glimpse of what she can do, and there are other, like, Ultron a little bit, and then Civil War a little bit. But really, you get, like, small 30-second blips of kind of, like, what she can do. So, like you said, to have this show, and if she shows up in Doctor Strange, and, like, just actually give her some screen time to develop, to see her as a character a little bit more.
And see her as a powerhouse. I understand why you wouldn't go that direction, because otherwise she could just basically talk Thanos out of existence or something.
Right.
But going forward, there is no Thanos. Like, eventually there will be another big bad, but we know there's no Avengers movie in Phase 4. You can kind of do whatever you want with these guys.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
But Paul Bettany, who plays the Vision, had also said, I have no idea. Last thing I knew, I died in Infinity War. So I literally have been this confused in front of this many people. Every time we get to do this, the stories get richer and richer, and this is the richest of all. I hope you love it, because this is going to be surprising and weird. And Feige had said, I can't tell you... Wait, did I...
No, it's a little different.
No, Feige had said a different comment. I can't tell you how exciting and different and strange that show is going to be.
What's with the word strange?
He says strange a lot.
This is ridiculous. Stop with your J.K. Rowling foreshadowing.
Confirmed. Kevin Feige made so much money, he's getting strange. Yeah. I don't mean Doctor Strange. I mean he's getting strange from strangers.
Yup.
Confirmed.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Very cool.
New Kevin Feige movie set in the MCU, The Cosmic Pimp. Confirmed for Phase 69. They're bringing him back to life in 300 years.
A god among men. Thanks, Kevin.
This movie's brought to you by Viagra.
If it doesn't last 4 hours or more, we let you down.
You're doing something wrong. We let you down literally.
Yeah.
Time to pick you back up, soldier.
More wordplay.
So Loki, spring 2021. I don't care. I'm going to be completely
Not
honest.
at all?
I don't care. Nope.
Really?
Nope. Can I explain why?
Even with Tom Hiddleston coming
Yes, and I love Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I know.
Can I just explain why here?
I guess you can.
Okay. Full disclosure on spoilers from previous Marvel movies, again with Loki.
Of course.
Loki went through one of the richest character developments in the MCU, up there with Steve Rogers, up there with Tony Stark, up there with Hemsworth's Thor. He is a piece of shit. That's the easiest way to say it. When you first find him, he's jealous of his brother. He hates that his brother has kinghood or like the throne in store for him, while Loki is set to take a back seat to Thor. He is very envious and jealous of him and willing to kill for it. He tries to get his father murdered. He tells his brother that his his father's dead and that his mother doesn't want to see him. He tries to have Thor murdered by the Destroyer. This is all in one movie in Thor 1. He tries to kill Thor again at the end on the bridge, and he would rather die and chooses to fall off than take his brother's help at the end of Thor. In Avengers, he shows up. They say he's manipulated and controlled by Thanos, at least in retcon, but still he's very clearly angry. He feels cheated out of the kingdom. He wants to lead an army to take over Earth, and the only reason he goes after Earth is to hurt his brother. Otherwise, he could have gone anywhere else. Like, he only goes there because it matters to Thor. He tries to kill Thor again. He tries to kill all the Avengers. He refuses to turn against the army and undo what he did during the Battle for New York. How many people die in the Battle of New York? Probably hundreds, thousands.
Are you talking civilians or major characters?
Yes, civilians.
Oh, okay. They're talking major characters. I'm like, well, Coulson died, I guess, but on the ship. But no, I'd say civilians-wise, with all the explosions and everything, yeah, you got to be in the hundreds, potentially thousands, probably thousands.
Because I was watching that, and I was watching these Marvel movies with my mom again. Actually, she's never seen the MCU. And I made a comment, and she kind of responded that it was like 100 9/11s, basically.
Yeah.
Going off at the same time.
Well, there wasn't like an evacuation or anything either.
No, absolutely
it was like,
not.
no, we're fighting now in New York.
Yeah, no one knew that the Chitauri
Yes.
The Chitauri army was coming. No one knew that.
No.
They just showed up and blew everything up.
The whole thing up. And the thing is, too, is they sent a nuke. The government sent a nuke into New York, and Iron Man had to put it in the sky into the wormhole. Because otherwise, they literally would have killed everyone.
Yeah, New York would have been gone.
Yeah, millions of people at that point. So yeah, probably, honestly, hundreds was probably a little bit under for what I was saying. It's probably in the tens of thousands of people that died.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever released a figure on that.
No.
That would be something not to look up now, but at some point for us, for our own knowledge.
Just for curiosity.
It's a lot of people.
Just because logically, look at all the explosions,
Yeah, absolutely. And you can try to say that not that many people died, but there's no way they didn't.
No, dude. No.
Just because you didn't show them getting vaporized doesn't mean they didn't. Like when the flying Chitauri ships would the fish ones would hit a building and take it out. It's
yes.
You're right, no one died.
Yeah, you're
right. They're fine. They're all in the tornado shelter, so they're good. Yeah. No, people are dead.
Right.
This is all thanks to Loki again. And then you have everything that he did in Thor 2 and Ragnarok. I mean, there's a lot here. And by the end of Ragnarok, he's pretty much redeemed. And his actions at the beginning of Infinity War do redeem him.
Fully.
Yeah. I mean, he still did all this stuff, but he's a different person.
But you love Loki. You love Loki by that point.
Loki is like the Thor and Loki pairing, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Where they're getting some Doctor Strange together.
We're already getting into the madness of the multiverse,
yeah,
already.
I love Loki. I love his growth as a character. To go back to the I'm pissed at my brother, I hate the world version from the end of Thor 1, beginning of Avengers, it's just a step backwards to me, man. I just don't need to see it. I'm not saying I'll never watch it, and I'm not saying it'll be bad. I just think we've been down this road in a way with the movies, and we don't need to go back there. That's all.
No, I totally get what you mean, just because I feel like I agree that his character arc has kind of been completed. It was a great one. He's definitely one of the best characters in the entire MCU with the way that he develops. He's funny, and his chemistry with Thor is fantastic.
Yeah.
Going back and revisiting him and giving him a full series, I don't mind it, to be honest. I think Tom Hiddleston is such a good actor, and his character is fun. And it'd be cool to see him go off on his own, not working with Thor at all, and see what he does. Because we really don't see that much. His sole intention, for the most part, revolves around Thor. What if this Loki was just doing what he wanted to do, kind of just see what his character's like, also aside from Thor and aside from Asgard.
And he just left Earth.
And he just left and did his own thing.
It's very possible. It is sort of in a way, a what if.
Right.
Even though that's its own thing. It is kind of that scenario. It's, though, a little bit like if you brought back RDJ as a different Iron Man, would you care that much? Because he's had this full character arc, and you're like, okay, that was fantastic. We wrapped that up in a bow. It's time to go to something else.
Right, but RDJ got 3 full Iron Man movies. All those, he got way more screen time. You fleshed out. I mean, don't get me wrong. We definitely fleshed out Loki a good amount, but nowhere near a comparison like a Thor or a Iron Man or a Captain America. Which you can say that about a lot of characters. But Loki was, I think, a fan favorite, and people love Loki. So I get why they're giving him a TV series.
I do too.
I'm expecting, from what I understand, I thought I read somewhere that it wasn't going to be multiple seasons. From what I understood,
it's just a limited series.
Just a one.
We know that of
season.
Hawkeye too.
Okay, so yeah, I'm thinking it's the same thing with Loki, where it's just one season. They're like, oh well, this is what he did after Endgame, and then that's it.
Can I ask you a question about this then?
Yeah.
And this is aside from Homecoming, which I know, or not Homecoming, Far From Home, which I know does some spinning of this topic.
Of course.
Do you think that? You know how the whole thing with returning the Infinity Stones in Endgame is to prevent that other reality from being destroyed, that other timeline? Because
yes.
You know how no matter what they do, they don't change their own future, they create different futures. Remember that?
Yes, definitely.
They could pull all the Infinity Stones to their future and just say, screw it, I don't care. It wouldn't affect their past. It would affect that other reality.
Right.
Does Loki leaving the timeline and not going back to Asgard, did that create another future?
See, I thought about the same thing, because I got confused with the whole timeline thing after I left Endgame. You know, with certain parts of it where it's like, well, does that add up, though?
Because you also have that timeline now has no Thanos.
Right.
Thanos came from, I don't know if that's the same timeline or a different timeline as the Battle for New York Loki leaving after one. I would assume they were jumping into that same alternate universe to get those. In terms of like, going to the past. I'm looking at it as an alternate universe. It was their past, but changing it did not change their future with the rules they set up. But they went to the past. Loki got away after the Battle of New York. The stone was returned, but Loki wasn't. He never got thrown in Asgard, supposedly, after that. And if he did, it was at a different time. Because he got away from Thor.
Well, doesn't he leave with the Tesseract?
Yes.
So that's a stone. So he's got a stone, and he leaves with that.
Yeah.
So
the stone is still in that timeline, too. But I'm saying, like, you...
So are there two stones in that timeline?
No, there can't be. You kind of have to ignore the stone part, because they went and got that stone from a different point in the timeline. Remember? They went back further to get it?
Yeah, but then they're... Oh, yeah, I guess you would have to just ignore it then. Because technically there'd be two then. There'd be two...
Well, no, because that
stones.
one stayed, and they went and returned the other one to that time without doing anything. But even, like, Tony talking to Howard would have had an interaction that would have changed the future in a small way.
Right.
The fact that they were even there would have created a new timeline.
Yeah.
And then the fact that there's now a timeline where Thanos just up and disappeared. Thanos, Nebula, and Gamora were yanked out of the universe after Guardians 2 and never came back.
Some of that stuff just gets messy.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's these different timelines now, and I think that is the multiverse. I don't know if that'll appear in What If at all.
Okay.
With some of that, but there is a lot you can explore here. So that's my defense of Loki, though, too. Is like, yes, am I excited for it? Do I really care? Do I want to watch it that much? No, I probably will eventually. I care more about the developed Loki. But in a way, this is a different Loki than the one we've seen in the past 5 years. It's the one from Avengers 1. So there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Ooh, Harry.
And it's kind of spooky.
Yeah. What do we know about this movie?
The Multiverse of Madness. Well, so it's directed, the director, I forget his name, but he directed Sinister.
Very, very, good reporting there. The director, I forget his name.
Yeah, but he directed Sinister, so that's it's supposed to be the first scary MCU film from what we know so far. So the guy, if he directed Sinister, which was a horrifying movie.
Have you watched Sinister?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorites.
I've heard it'll change your life in a terrible way if you watch it. Like, it's just horrifying. But the thing is, it's going to be PG-13 still, which makes sense. It's Marvel. It's going to stick around there. And yeah, I will be starring opposite of Benedict Cumberbatch in the movie. So
yeah, and how did I write his name there?
Banditch Lumberbatch. I didn't see. The mic was in the way, so I couldn't see it. Banditch Lumberpatch?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
100% Banditch Lumberpatch.
Okay.
We know that it has a really dumb name.
Yep.
That it's the first scary MCU movie, like you said, other than The Incredible Hulk, which was scary because of lack of quality.
Indeed, yeah. Its Rotten Tomatoes score was scary, yeah.
This Elizabeth Olsen connection, to me, kind of ties the Scarlet Witch back into more magic.
Yes.
Which I think is interesting in and of itself.
I agree. I think it's a good thing, yeah. I think it'll be cool to see her, like we were talking about before, see her kind of explore that part, develop her a little bit more, and then maybe bring her into the... maybe like the main limelight area, potentially, if they want to go there. You know what I mean? Where you're in the area of like a Thor, a Captain America.
I hope so, because I love her.
She's great.
She's so good.
It'd be cool to see who's going to fill that shoe. I think she could do it. I think Doctor Strange could do it as well. I think they can be big characters going forward. And I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a fantastic actor. I think
Cumberbatch.
He fills Lumberpatch. I think
No, it's Cumberbatch.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, it's Batch. I keep saying. Well, I saw a patch and it messed me up. So then.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
You're right though. They could be very big players.
They definitely could.
I think it comes down a little bit to personal taste too.
Right.
Like, I'm more interested in Scarlet Witch and what she does than Doctor Strange. But I'm still interested to see what he does. So it's more like a, it's like if I had to have ice cream and it's like, oh no, I have to have vanilla ice cream. It's still really good.
Right.
Like, I still really like Doctor Strange. I still think he's sort of Magic Tony Stark in a way. We watched Tony Stark for so long, it's hard to see another character that acts very similarly.
Yes.
To me.
Had a really similar background, too. I mean, I don't know. They're really similar. The same facial hair, too. I mean, it's all right there.
Yeah, and so that's just a little hard for me to ignore those glaring similarities, but I'm still very interested in both of them.
Definitely.
What If is something interesting. We don't know a lot about it. It's an animated series. Jeffrey Wright will be the voice of the Watcher. Mm-hmm. We also know that there's going to be a lot of other MCU actors that reprise their roles that are already signed on. So something I read that you even mentioned to me was like if Nick Fury shows up in the show, it would be Sam Jackson voicing him.
Right.
That sort of thing. If Tony Stark was in it, it would be... I don't know how the heck they'd do that, but I guess it would be RDJ. Maybe they're going to avoid Tony Stark.
Yeah, they probably will, yeah.
But do you know what If is in the comics?
No, I don't really know anything about it.
What If is a line of comic books that's kind of gone on forever. Do you know DC's Elseworlds, stuff like Gotham by Gaslight? What if Batman was in Victorian England?
Yes.
What If is that same thing?
Oh, okay.
What if Peter Parker stopped the mugger who killed his uncle?
Interesting.
What if Captain America was a Nazi? That's a real thing. It's like, what if Thor never became worthy to wield his hammer again? That kind of thing would be what if. What would have happened to this timeline if this?
See, that's fun. I like that. That's exploring things that, I don't know, I really like that, because if they're going to go in a weird direction with it, which they could... Okay, I need to slow down. Really, what I'm seeing that could be really cool, I doubt they're going to do this, but it'd be cool if they did like a Black Mirror type of setup, where they did just like individual episodes of like, what if Thor did this?
That is what this will likely be.
Oh,
that's
really?
what the What If comics are.
That's amazing.
There are sometimes sequels to What If comics, like this is set later in the same What If continuity, but very rarely. Usually a What If world is its own, what if this happened, the end.
Yeah.
Like, so one of them I can think of too, which is one of my favorite what ifs, is like, what if Peter never got rid of the black suit? And so it's this idea that like the black suit continued to like pretty much suck the vitality right out of Peter Parker, because he ignored what it was doing and just kept it on. And it eventually kills him.
Really?
So Spider-Man dies at a point in the future. It's stuff like that. Like, what if, this happened? Then this big climactic thing happens. Then we move on to the next comic. Like, that's the end of that timeline for that world. Spider-Man's dead. Sorry, life sucks. See you later.
That's basically
what it is.
Yeah,
it is Black Mirror-y.
I was going to say, basically Black Mirror for the Marvel universe. Yeah.
Except Black Mirror has a shared universe. Would be the difference.
Yeah,
because that's all one timeline.
Okay,
at different points. But they're an anthology where you could take it as individual stories.
Right.
What If is individual, so that this very well could be that.
That'd be incredible.
Doesn't it seem like they're leaning on the multiverse idea too? Because we have the idea of the multiverse coming up in Endgame, with those timelines. We have the multiverse of madness. We have the multiverse mentioned in the new Spider-Man movie.
I was going to say, I didn't know if that was a spoiler or not, but I was going to say they definitely
not. They
mentioned
say it in all the trailers.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So yeah, it's mentioned in Spider-Man as well. Yeah.
Every single trailer's like, he's from the multiverse?
Yeah.
So like they talk about it nonstop.
Okay, good.
If that's a spoiler for you, I'm sorry you've been living under a rock for 6 months.
Right.
I've seen that trailer 100 times and it needs to stop.
Yeah.
But they are going hard on that. It seems like What If falls in line with it. And I love it. Multiverse stuff is kind of where DC and Marvel shine a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, remember like the KG Beast, this character you don't care about? What if he killed Superman? That's something I just made up. Yeah. But it's like, it's like something like that.
Right.
And it's
something
like,
outrageous.
What? Or it's like, well, what if Superman, this is DC, landed in Russia? That's Superman Red Son.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ideas like this are really creative, and they help take a spin on these classic characters.
See, that's really cool. This is probably one of the most, I'm actually growing to be, one of the most excited shows that I'm in. One of the shows that I cannot talk, dude. This is probably growing to be one of the shows that I'm most excited for now.
Yeah.
Just from that alone, just hearing you talk about it, because doing interesting, weird things like that where it doesn't really affect anything, it's just like, hey, what if this happened? Let's write about it and see where it goes. I love that. That's amazing.
I do too. Hawkeye, we don't have a lot to say about.
No.
Fall 2021. Neither of us are huge Hawkeye fans. We like Jeremy Renner. Character's not that interesting to us.
Right.
Ronan was probably the most interesting part, and we're past it. So
agreed. 100%.
I mean, 100%. If you have more to say about Hawkeye in the comments below, go for it. Tell us why we should care about Hawkeye. In the meantime, will we probably watch it to get the MCU portion of the story? Sure. Am I looking forward to it and like sitting in anticipation, clawing the Roman numerals into my wall, counting down for Hawkeye? No, not really.
No, not really.
I'm not. But the one thing that I am scrawling Roman numerals on my wall for, counting down towards,
naturally, yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder. This is, by the way, can I just mention, this might be the sexiest looking title card I have ever seen in my life.
It's fantastic. It looks like Flash Gordon, dude.
Yeah, and it's very 80s-ish. It's very Far Cry Blood Dragon looking. It's very Thor Ragnarok had this vibe to it too.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the colors. I love Thor being this character that's not just a magic character from mythology, but also an outer space character. I'm not sure if that'll be the case here, but it kind of seems like they wouldn't go back on that, especially now that they've tied him into Guardians. But I'm just so excited to see it, and it has one of my favorite storylines of all time in Marvel Comics being drawn on for it. So you have Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, surprisingly.
Yes.
And director Taika Waititi. I think I said that right.
Waititi.
No, that's not his name. Please don't make fun of this man. He's written a beautiful movie in Thor Ragnarok. Who directed Ragnarok. He will be returning as well. So Natalie Portman was handed Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, on stage by Waititi. And they pretty much confirmed that she's going to be returning as the Mighty Thor at some point in the movie.
That's really cool, actually.
It's big.
It's
also, can I mention, she was looking fantastic on stage. Very pretty, very cute. I think she's gonna probably buff up a little bit.
Yep.
But it was fun.
No, you can and you should say that. She was looking nice. I did say that. It was one of the first things I said, though, like when we saw the picture of her holding Mjolnir, was like, she needs to put on a little bit of muscle, you know what I mean?
Because she's not, it's weird, she's not at all fat.
No,
and,
no.
If she was, like, who cares? But, like, it's more just that she's not muscular.
No.
And it's hard to portray that type of character if you're a really scrawny person.
Right.
You saw it with Gal Gadot, where she went hard for Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Even though I couldn't find this quote again, Portman had said that she's going to try 10 times harder for this role and that she's super excited to be back. And that it means a lot to her to be part of the MCU family.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think she does actually really care here. I think we should address, though, that she had left the MCU.
Yes.
And we had talked a little bit about this. Do you want to run really quickly through sort of what happened here of why she had left?
Yeah, so, I mean, originally, because we saw her in Thor 2, The Dark World, and basically what happened was Portman was really fond of the original director, Patty Jenkins, who actually went on to do Wonder Woman, which was obviously amazing. We love that. So Jenkins was set to do it, and then it all fell through with a lot of different accounts of who was in the wrong, but essentially they mutually decided that Patty would no longer do Thor 2.
Yeah.
Based on, from what you had kind of mentioned to me, that Patty was kind of looking to go in one direction, and Marvel was saying, no, we're not doing that. So there was just kind of a conflict there. So they ended up parting ways. So Portman was not happy with this at all because she was really close with Patty Jenkins. So that's why we saw that she didn't return in Ragnarok and was kind of written out. We got like a small line, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
Infinity
kind of
War.
a throwaway that they broke up, and it was like Thor's like, no, it was a mutual dumping.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it's funny, but like it sucked because of all that they built up between Jane Foster and Thor.
Right.
And I just went back and watched those movies, and they build up Jane Foster and Thor's connection hard. Then they
do.
Chuck it out.
They focus on it quite a bit. And then it's just kind of, well, no, we broke up, and there was no scene for it at all. Because the last time we see him, I think, is Thor coming back, making out with Natalie Portman, and then...
At the end of Thor 2.
At the end of Thor 2, and then that's
Yep.
it. So, yeah, it's good to have her back. It's good to see her back.
And she is a good actress. I've seen some people say, like, they don't like her acting, but, like, come on. Like, a lot of people, for being honest, you've only seen her in Attack of the Clones... Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith, and sorry George Lucas, like I think you've made some great stuff. You directed some real wooden romances here in the prequels that were real cringy. And to take that out on Natalie Portman, like, that's not her acting. What are you going to do with that? Those lines. Like, look at Hayden Christensen. I'm not saying he's the greatest thing to walk the earth since breaded toast, breaded toast, buttered toast. But, like, I hate sand. You're right. I'm sorry. Give me an Oscar-winning actor that can deliver I hate sand better. Like, you just can't use those as barometers for these actors. Those are bad lines. They suck. So
those are pretty bad.
So to go off that and be like, oh, Natalie Portman sucks, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, like, have you seen her in Black Swan?
Yeah, that was like Oscar nomination stuff, wasn't it?
Have you seen her in Annihilation?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, well, you should.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's been in fantastic movies where she's done an amazing, phenomenal job. She is not a bad actress. She has had bad roles.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
I thought she was a good Jane Foster. I liked her.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
She took a little bit of a backseat, which kind of sucked, and that very easily could have played too into her not caring enough to return.
True.
They did really relegate her to a love interest.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing sort of happened to Gwyneth Paltrow, except I would assume the paychecks on Iron Man were so dang good, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah.
But this whole thing is going to be very interesting, especially because we know that the whole Mighty Thor event in the comics, like with Jane Foster becoming Thor, without going like ridiculously into it, it followed Original Sin, which was a huge crossover. Nick Fury took on a Watcher, killed him. It took his eye. There's like huge cosmic fallout during this whole thing. Eventually, Thor becomes unworthy to wield the hammer because Nick Fury speaks something to him that causes him to become unworthy. So it sort of hit this point where that was all possible because of this huge crossover for Jane to step in and become Thor. We're not at that point. We just had the huge crossover. Thor is still worthy. I could very easily see him handing Mjolnir over to someone who is also worthy because he has Stormbreaker.
Well, didn't Captain America return Mjolnir, though, in the timeline?
Yeah.
So they don't have Mjolnir anymore. They only have Stormbreaker, right?
Well, no, wait. No, he didn't. Thor had both. Captain America returned the stone.
Yeah, I thought he had Mjolnir, too, though. Because he had to return it back because they grabbed Mjolnir from that timeline. Remember in Endgame?
They did, but I didn't think they ever returned it.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I guess I don't really remember. I thought Thor had both at the end of Endgame.
I don't know. I don't know for sure. That was the only thing. I didn't mean to cut you off. But I wasn't sure for sure.
You're right, because I don't really know if he did return it or not, because it's...
I thought when he was on the pod he had Mjolnir. I thought.
No, he did take Mjolnir with him. I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. However, Mjolnir could have been recrafted at some point. I mean, it's Asgardian magic.
Right.
And
that giant guy's still alive, too, so they could always make something else.
Well, also, before the hammer was imbued with Thor's power, was the hammer really that special? I mean, I know it was like a legendary weapon, but like the point of what made it so powerful was that Odin takes it, does the incantation, and puts Thor's powers in it. But Mjolnir was destroyed, and Thor's powers were not tied to it anymore.
No, because there was that phenomenal scene in Ragnarok where he comes out and they start playing that what's that song? You know that song I'm talking about where he's like going in slow-mo down the... Yeah, that one.
I don't want to go too far into that. I don't want to get sued.
Right. But it was amazing. And that was really cool. So, I mean, he doesn't need it, but I don't know what they're going to do with
how they'll get it to Jane.
You're right. Yeah, how they're going to do that.
I don't know either. I would assume it's this normal Marvel timeline, though. I'm thinking they're going a direction where they will... I don't know when they will move Thor out. I don't think he'll become unworthy. I think the thunder powers, like the thunder and lightning and god powers, are in him, though.
Yes.
But I think that they're also in the hammer. I don't know how you do that, but I would assume it's a thing where if someone holds the hammer, they have the power of Thor, but Thor also has the power of Thor now.
I'm going to be honest, I just started thinking about like this movie, and a cool scene would be like to see Thor, the Valkyrie, and Jane Foster.
All together?
And they're all together, and they're like all ready to go.
We know the Valkyrie's in it.
Yes.
Tessa Thompson's back too, which I forgot to put in the docket, but we know she is.
Yes, which would just be, I mean, it'd be really cool to see all three of them, like, towards the end of the movie. You can see it now with, like, some crazy epic music going in the background, and then she's got Mjolnir, he's got Stormbreaker, like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they play MacArthur Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, when he hands over the Mjolnir, it's like they left the cake out in the rain. Inside joke moment, MacArthur Park was this song that we used to play to troll each other in high school because it's, in our opinion, the stupidest song we've ever heard.
Arguably the worst song of all time.
When you have the lyrics, MacArthur Park is melting in the dark, someone left the cake out in the rain,
and it took so long to bake it.
It's really bad.
And I'll never have that recipe again.
It's real bad.
Yeah.
Nice little fair use warning. We are using the song for purposes of commentary and news reporting.
Allegedly.
So it is fair use. But I don't know how they're going to do this. Right. It's weird. This is the one. This is up here in terms, because of what you're mentioning with Mjolnir, where it's on the same level as WandaVision of how are you going to set this up.
Right.
But I'm sure it'll be phenomenal.
They'll do it. Yeah, and they get the same director coming back. I mean, the same crew.
Thor Ragnarok changed my opinion on Thor.
It was amazing. Yeah. Do you think they'd bring Hulk into this at all again?
I don't know what they're going to do with Hulk going forward, because we talked about it. I'm pretty sure it's Universal, but another studio has the rights to solo Hulk movies. I could very easily see him crossing over with pretty much anything.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just saying just because of how well he vibed with Thor.
True, yeah, he has a good connection to him.
Yes.
But Thor leaves in Endgame with the Guardians, and Bruce doesn't. Bruce stays on Earth. So I don't know how they'll do that.
I guess we don't know when
or where this takes place.
No, or when Guardians 3, like, that wasn't really, like, a date wasn't announced.
Guardians 3 is going to be like Phase 5.
Oh.
It's not, well, so far. It's not announced. We know it's coming.
Well, they said Captain Marvel 2, Black Panther 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, are still coming. There is a possibility of Phase 4 being amended.
Oh.
Because remember, originally I believe Phase 3 ended with Endgame, and now Phase 3 technically ends with Spider-Man. That's actually the end of Phase 3.
Okay.
Also, Phase 3 originally included the Inhumans as a movie. The Inhumans was switched to a limited series on ABC, I believe, and it's horrible.
Oh, gosh.
But that technically was pulled out of the timeline completely, like the Phase timeline. So any of this, I hate saying, like with what we talked about last week, I hate saying, like, subject to change. Any entertainment news you talk about, subject to change.
Pretty much, yeah.
They could yank something out of this timeline. I think all this stuff is so deep in development it would never get pulled out. But something could be added in or taken out or moved if it needed to be at any time. And these guys are masters at their craft in terms of marketing, being able to create a cohesive universe with a story, being able to respect previously told stories. Yeah, there's some continuity weirdness, like with Blade, because he was mentioned in the Netflix verse. Netflix shows are supposedly in the MCU. They've been MIA because of contract stuff. We don't know what's going on here. But overall, these guys are masters at making this universe. So it's like, I don't really, even like the things I have something negative to say about, it's within reason, the negative amount of it. It never means I think it's not going to be good. But there are certain things where it's like, I don't really know if we need it.
Yes.
This is not that thing, though.
It's more of just asking questions about it instead of, like, criticizing it almost.
Well, 100%. And also, I think that, like, no matter how big of a fan you are, you should never be a fanboy, really. Like, where you're like, DC or Marvel or Image Comics. No one's a Image Comics apologist.
Who says that?
Can do no wrong. And, like, how dare you question the might of Kevin Feige? It's like, well, that's how things become bad.
Right.
Complacency. Like, if you can see this in video games, especially, like NBA 2K. No one asks questions, no one cares, everyone drops the money.
Yeah.
Wow, look, it's shit.
Yeah, again.
It got worse over time.
I know.
And it's like, I wonder how that happened. Well, because you're stupid and won't ask questions, and you just throw your money at it.
I know.
That's it.
That's how NHL is, too, at this point. Like, for the first time in... Not to get way off subject here.
No, well, I think we're actually done with the MCU.
Okay,
I think,
good.
Well, wait. Before you get into that.
Yeah.
The last MCU thing was just something that you said, which is that we're going to eventually see Guardians 3, the Blade reboot, and I saw mention mutants are going to eventually be a thing.
Fantastic
We knew
Four,
that. Yeah. We knew that. We know nothing about them.
Right.
That's it.
Just that it's going to happen. Yeah.
But on the subject of...
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, with the repetitiveness, like, NHL, for the first time ever, like, in, I think, 15 years, I didn't buy an NHL game last year. So, like, they're not changing stuff. So I finally took your advice and didn't do it. So I'm hoping that this year they finally change some stuff. But it's kind of like that, though.
Well,
like,
it sucks because there's so many people buying it that, in a way, it's like your sale doesn't matter.
No, exactly.
Unless, like, a lot of people do that.
That's what the bummer is. And so, and I think the community's starting to take it that way.
Yeah.
Not to get into an NHL rant, but it's just, it's, like you said, you get into kind of like a complacent rhythm, and it starts to kind of ruin the product a little bit. So
yeah, and the thing is, even if it doesn't change, it should matter to you.
Yes,
it should matter to you at least a little bit of like being able to say like, well, I wasn't happy with the product, I didn't give my money to it, I don't have to feel bad about supporting something I don't like. Like, the point of capitalism is supposed to be that you vote with your wallet, and it's like, hey, I don't appreciate what you're doing here, so because I'm voting with my wallet, you stop. Problem is, when there's millions of people in your country that relies on hundreds of thousands doing that. But at the very least, you can feel good knowing that you didn't drop money on something you don't care about.
Right.
I think it's going to be the same with anything going forward. Like, yes, the MCU is, I would argue, borderline perfect in a lot of ways. But if it ever hits a point where it's not, you should not just keep giving it money just because it's the MCU. You should give it money because it's good. Right. It's making something you care about. And I think that is how we force companies to listen to the fans. We say, okay, I'm not giving you my money then until you listen to what I want.
Because that's how they get feedback, really. It's through money. It's through seeing, oh, well, this didn't get as much money. Why? Instead of if the sales stay the same, then they're not really going to change either.
No, so. Absolutely not. Why would you?
Right.
It would be illogical to change if the sales stay the same or get better.
See, that's a tricky one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. DC news. There's not as much, but we're going to run through it real quick here.
Yes.
Harley Quinn trailer.
Yeah, the animated series.
Your reactions. I feel like I was more. I'm not saying you weren't interested in it, but I feel like I was more not open to it, but intrigued by it.
Yeah, you were more excited about it first. I know that Tara Strong or Arlene Sorkin are not voicing Harley Quinn. It's Kaylee.
It's me. I'm voicing it.
Yeah, it's Degenerate Jay. It's great. It's Harley Quinn had a gender reassignment surgery. That was
100%. Why are you laughing? You're not accepting?
No, it's great. It's
that sounds like a not very accepting,
so progressive,
not very plus attitude of you.
No,
you don't sound like an ally right now.
I read all of J.K. Rowling's work, and I'm incredibly progressive.
Oh, okay, there you go. Someone get this man a Purple Heart. He's read Harry Potter.
Thank you so much.
So who is voicing her?
Kaylee, I think it's Kuko. She's Penny in The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, she's cute.
She is, yeah. So she is going to be voicing Harley Quinn, which I think is cool. She's a good actor. I think she's been in other animated stuff, but yeah. So I'll see how that goes. The trailer was very just chaotic.
Weird.
There was a lot of stuff going on. There was Aquaman being kind of goofy and weird.
Aquaman was getting annihilated.
He got throat punched. Yeah, I mean, it was...
I think he got hit in the balls, too.
Yeah, he did, yeah. I mean, it could be really fun. The way I kind of looked at it was it'll be... I think at the beginning, too, they showed kind of like a disclaimer, like, hey, this has got some violence and stuff that's not suitable for children. And, like, the first word out of Harley Quinn's mouth is like, hey, you dickhead! And it was like, well, okay. So
there's a lot of, like, shit and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean... It's towing a line of being like totally over the top South Parky and still staying within reason of DC Comics. I think very Deadpool-esque. Yeah,
I think it'll be fun. The way I look at it, it'll either be really good or really bad. So I'm excited to see which way it goes. Because it could, like, if the jokes aren't landing, I think that's where it's going to be bad. Because if it's a funny show with some decent stories here and there, I'm totally down with that. But if it's like trying to tell jokes that aren't funny, and that's the big thing that it's leaning on, then yeah, it'll be kind of a struggle.
I do hope that there's a little bit of play off of Batman and Harley Quinn together, because we saw a tiny bit of it in the trailer.
Yes. Yeah.
We saw her standing next to Batman and like his like very stoic staunchness, like compared to her chaotic, craziness. Yeah. I think that's a really cool foil for that character. It's not a Batman show, though. It's a Harley Quinn show.
Right.
So, I mean, Batman might show up in a limited capacity sometimes. I don't think he's going to be a focus at all.
No. They already did a movie for that. So
yeah. And this is not in the DC animated universe.
No.
It's not the Bruce Timm-verse. It's its own thing.
Right.
I wish they did more in that Tim universe. I know I say it all the time. I would really like that, but...
I love his art style. Yeah.
It's not that, so, whatever. It's its own thing.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it, I'm sure. I think I have to get another DC Universe subscription, because not to really get into DC Universe, like the app itself, but I tried it for 30 days, and I already have most of the stuff that they offer on there, so for me it wasn't really worth it. I didn't watch Titans yet. I've heard mixed things about it, so...
I hate the character designs, but heard that the show is well written.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah. So I think when this comes out, and then the 4th season of Young Justice, by the way, was the next thing that we're going to segue into. When that's on there as well, there's a lot of content to watch that I don't have. So that's motivation to watch stuff and get on that.
We also know they're bringing Batman Beyond to it, which we'll also get into.
Yes, absolutely.
So what do you got on Young Justice, though?
Young Justice, well, really all that we saw was that the 4th season was announced. So there's not a whole lot to go on beyond that. It was just recently announced today on, Sunday the 21st. So the last day of Comic-Con, we just got, also 4th season of Young Justice, which the 3rd one came out, I believe, 2 years ago, I think. It was somewhere in that realm. So came out recently. And it's a good show. They did really well. I watched the 1st season, and I think I watched the 2nd season.
I haven't
as well.
watched any of it.
Okay.
I watched the premiere.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I need to go back. I know everyone loves it. Isn't it the modern day Teen Titans kind of?
Exactly. Yeah, it's fun. I really liked it. They had a really. I remember there were some really good Superboy episodes and stuff like that were great. So I enjoyed it. I'd like to watch the 3rd season. I haven't even watched it yet, so I need to watch the 3rd season, and the 4th season I'm sure they'll keep it up and keep making good stuff, because it's just been consistently really good episodes of animated television. So
yeah, and before you get into the next thing too, I know on the DC universe, on that topic, Doom Patrol is continuing.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that as well, yeah.
So that's still going. I haven't watched season 1 of it. I heard it's good. It's interesting that I'm glad it's still going, but Swamp Thing got totally screwed over, which was too bad.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it's not continuing.
Really?
Yeah, it got 1 season because they were supposed to get this state rebate or something on shooting it, and they didn't get it, so they blew a lot of money on it, and it couldn't recoup the budget, so they just said, because we messed up and because we didn't get this thing. I'm really paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
It's done.
That's a bummer. I didn't know that.
It's a real bummer. Yeah, it's really too bad. Especially because James Wan was involved. He did amazing work on The Conjuring.
Yeah.
So it's
and
sucks.
Aquaman, honestly, he was in Aquaman too, which I enjoyed.
It's another DC blunder.
Yeah.
In terms of their entertainment, their visual media entertainment, which really blows because I'm rooting for them hard, and I care about the MCU more than the DC film universe, but I think I care about the DC characters more.
Right.
In terms of that, so it's it just sucks to see.
Right. It's just another thing added to the list, I guess.
Yep, 100%, which we've hit that list so hard.
Yes, we have.
The last couple of weeks. I'm sure we will again next week, so we'll kind of avoid it today.
Right. And the last thing we want to talk about was Pennyworth. There was I think there was either a whole episode debut at Comic-Con, or they just briefly showed some stuff. So, I don't know. I think we both don't care about that at all. Is that fair to say? It doesn't really need to exist.
I wish the mic could see my face.
Yeah,
I don't care at all. Gotham was a big, huge joke to me. Sorry, Gotham fans. It was more stupid Smallville. I like Smallville, but I was a teenager when it came out, so I can go back and watch that. It's got the right level of campiness and everything. Gotham is super angsty. Could have been cool as a crime show. Very quickly came into little kid Bruce Wayne show. I don't care. I mean, we don't need to see this. This is like Krypton. What does this connect to? It's its own continuity. It's
I forgot about Krypton. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you and everyone else. It's doing a storyline where it's an origin story for nothing, because you can do an origin story fine. If you do nothing after it, the origin doesn't matter that much, unless it's its own self-contained property. So something like Unbreakable. Yes, it has sequels. It originally probably was never going to. It's a surprise that it ever got them. it was good on its own because that is it. That is David Dunn. That was his whole brand, was one movie. It's a standalone movie. Good. When you have something like Pennyworth where there's infinite Earths already, they all have their own Alfred and everything, and you're doing a Alfred origin for none of them, it's just for your universe, and you're not going to do anything with it, I don't care. It's the same with Gotham. Wow, he's finally Batman. I don't care. We'll never see him be Batman after that. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The only reason Smallville works is it's so dang long. It's 10 seasons. And it has multiple graphic novels after it. They continued the universe. So, like, it worked as an origin story. They didn't just say, like, well, he's there, drop it. That's what all these shows have been doing. Who cares? Who needs the Krypton origin for no existing Superman?
No, yeah. I don't think anyone cares. Are people watching that show at all? I don't know.
It did well enough to, I think, warrant a little bit more. I don't know how long it'll go.
Okay.
But I'm not, and I don't care. That's really all I'm saying here.
Yeah.
The MCU works with all this stuff because, again, it's so interconnected. And it does such a good job of being that.
Yeah. And creating a universe for everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, there's that connects to that film or that TV show. Yeah. They do a really good job with that.
Even when they're not super connected, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of one that's not. I guess Iron Man 2 is not super connected. They can still point back and be like, that's Peter Parker right there. That little kid in the Iron Man helmet, yeah, we retcon that, sure. That's Peter Parker.
Right.
There's a point to this. So far, DC with a lot of these shows has not been able to prove that to me or anyone else. And that sucks, because I love DC so much.
I know.
That really bums me out. But
I know.
The last thing we got is we were right. Welcome to Earth. Punch you in the face moment.
Oh, yeah.
Batman Beyond.
Yes, indeed.
It is coming to Blu-ray.
Yep.
We looked up the price. It's weirdly conflicting because, like, there's listings for it at $100. There's listings for it at $120.
There's the digital version that's coming out, I think, 2 weeks before. That's $50.
Yes.
So that's
just digital.
Yeah, that's the cheaper way to go if you just want it on digital.
It is, but it sucks because I really want to own that physical DCAU in what it comes in.
100%.
But this is its 20th anniversary. It was announced at that panel at Comic-Con like we said it was going to be from the report that we reported on, because that seemed very credible, and lo and behold it was.
We are journalists.
Absolutely. Well, entertainment journalism is just some other guy said something, so I'm going to say it too.
Yeah, that's what we did.
So in that way, we are journalists. You are 100% right.
We did that exactly.
I guess it's better than being a White House journalist, because that you just go into a room and yell at a guy.
Yeah.
So we're doing something.
We're above ground level. So that's
we're above the White House. Sniper takes me out.
Yes.
I don't mean you, White House. I mean the reporters.
Thank you.
We're above the reporters, and this report is huge.
Huge news.
But this is remastered. It's coming out October 29th, 2019. I am going to get it for sure. However, I want to wait and see if they do like a different version like they did for Batman the Animated Series. Because this is cool, but it's really big and bulky. Do you want to run through some of what it includes?
Yeah, so, it comes with, there's like 4 like art cards that it comes with, as well as like a Chrome Batman Beyond Funko. Mm-hmm. Comes with Return of the Joker. That's the stuff that we had mentioned before in the previous video as well, like as far as the bonus discs, everything like that.
While you're talking about this, by the way, keep talking about it. I'm going to grab my Batman Beyond Funko. I want to compare it to that one and see if there's a difference really.
Definitely, yeah. So, I mean, the difference really, and I think there is a limited edition, which is the one with the Funko and the cards, and then the one that doesn't have the Funko and the cards. And I think that's the standard edition. We're not 100% sure on the price yet. I believe it's going to be around the $100 range, because that's what the animated series actually launched at. I think it was last year when it came out. When Batman the Animated Series came out, the edition with the Funkos, I think it was like Joker, Harley Quinn, and Batman, all came with it in like the limited edition version. That was $100, I believe, at the time as well. So there's a similarity there. I'm guessing they'll do the same thing. So you're probably looking at $100 for the one with the Funko. It's expensive, especially now looking at the animated series a year later, dropping down to, I think you just got it for $45.
I got it for $42 or $43 on Amazon on like a post Prime Day deal.
And given that's not like the limited edition with the Funkos, but still, you got the thing that you wanted.
Yeah, and I don't want that limited edition one because it looked silly to me. Like,
Right.
I don't think it looks as good. Can I say, by the way, that as far as the price, I think part of it is where it's coming out. Like, I think one of the prices I had seen was, like, Canada. I think that's why it was $120.
Okay.
Because I see it for $99.99, like, on IGN.
Gotcha.
listed.
Okay.
So, just to clarify that, because I was off over there while you were doing your thing.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't want to yell at you.
No, for sure.
Because it is weirdly conflicted. Because like you
Yes.
said, some of those listings were 120.
Yes. Yeah, there's some weird things there, and I'm guessing the not Funko version will be like 80.
But is there
maybe.
gonna be a not Funko version? Because
I
we
think there is.
reported that there was going to be a not Funko version, but we thought both versions would be announced at the panel, and only this one was.
Is it only the one? Okay.
Yeah, only the one was announced so far. It's just odd because they haven't gone into it yet. But do you remember when they did the first limited edition of Batman the Animated Series, they acted like it was going to be the only printing of it, and then they randomly announced that other one a few months later.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that they would do that again. But
So
I guess not
could do
necessarily in
that
that order.
same
But...
thing.
Okay.
Where they wait a little bit to announce the lower priced version, especially if it's the $50 like digital.
Yeah, half price for digital.
Half price. That's half of it.
That's a big
Nice.
difference.
Great way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Half price. That's half of it.
Yeah. Look at you doing arithmetic. That's...
Yeah. Big boy used big boy toilet.
Yeah. But yeah, with that big of a difference, I mean, the Funko's cool, and I mean, we both obviously want the physical versions, but like, if we were economically savvy and wanted to be economically savvy, we would just get the digital version and save $50.
Well, and I'm looking at this too. Can you enlarge this picture for me?
Yeah.
Just so that people, the one, with the Funko, just so people know, we're looking at the picture with the Funko, which I'm sure I will put on screen for this story. This is a little bit of a lower priority story for us since we already covered it compared to the MCU, but it's the same Funko. Like, it looks like it's cleaned up a little.
It's chrome, essentially.
It's chrome. It looks like the paint is cleaned up a little too, though. Like, if you look at the eyes on mine, all mine were like this.
Yeah, and his muscles are a bit more defined.
Yeah,
too,
the
on
muscles are a little defined, and so like I think the body is different. Like, the body is not a standard old Funko body like this one,
Right.
but the face is nearly identical.
Yes, the same facial expression and everything. Yeah.
So I don't fully understand. Is that what's supposed to separate the difference of price? I mean,
it's supposed to be a limited edition Funko.
because I
guess,
don't
yeah.
think the Funko is worth $50. I guess if you broke it down and said the Funko is $20 and owning the Blu-ray is $30 worth of content, I guess kind of.
Kinda, yeah.
Not to me. So this is something where if they don't announce another version of it, I will buy it later discounted.
Right.
If they do, I'm hoping they do that because I want to own them all. But I don't need a monstrosity on my shelf with a Funko in it.
No, it's huge. Yeah, and we both already have a ton of movies and stuff. So
And Funkos.
to get a huge, and so to get a huge thing like this, I mean, and to pay $100 for it, it just seems like a lot. I mean, you're getting a lot of content.
Yeah, I
and
don't
you're
want to
getting
say
the
it's
movies.
a waste. If this is your thing, by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like an economically great investment if there's another version available.
Right.
Especially because I didn't know this. So just to clarify, the discounted, like, non-limited edition version of Batman the Animated Series came with Sub-Zero and Mask of the Phantasm.
Correct.
Physically. And I didn't know that.
Which is amazing.
Because
Yeah.
I thought it didn't. I thought it only came with the episodes. But that came with it. So, like, I would assume if there's... Well, one, I already have Return of the Joker on Blu-ray, for me.
Right.
But I would assume that if there is a lower cost version, that'll still come with Return of the Joker. Maybe there'd be fewer special features, not to be mean to the crew. Like, the special features for the DCAU are cool. They're not why I buy the shows.
No.
They're fun, like on Justice League and stuff, but they're not the focus. So, like, if I miss a special feature by saving $30, like, I can watch it online. It's kind of where I'm at with that.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. And I have a Batman Beyond Funko. I would hope that this means that they're considering releasing Batman Beyond ones in the future, though, like how they did the whole line for the animated series. I don't know if they will, but that'd be really, really dope. Imagine Superman Beyond.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. But to mention that, too, one last thing about this is that not every episode is fully remastered.
That is important to note, yeah.
We didn't know that information ahead of time. Because
It's
apparently...
like 11 episodes, right?
11 episodes are damaged.
Okay.
So they're the ones that are not fully remastered. They're up-resed. Because the film was damaged in the past couple decades. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
That's not the first time this has happened in the film industry. It sucks. It's happened in the gaming industry as well with, backup assets and stuff for games when they go to remaster them. But it sucks. Some of the episodes that are not going to be fully remastered are ones that don't matter. Like, just to give you a little preview here, like the episode where Terry takes care of the egg. Like, for his high school class, and it's like a baby egg, and he has to make sure it doesn't get broken.
Right.
That's not remastered. I don't care.
No.
So, we're already doing a toss-out episode in a way, right there. It's not a big deal.
No.
They're going to be
They'll
HD.
look better still.
Yeah, they're going to be scaled up to 1080. They're just not remastered.
Right.
And I think there's going to be a little bit of argument about the lighting changes. I like them. I
did notice in the trailer that they were noticeably, quite a bit more colorful.
Yes.
Just lighter colors,
Yeah, and I understand why that is not for everyone.
Especially after the whole 1989 Batman thing where they made everything teal, They're kind of changing things about it that set the tone for the whole show, or movie in that case.
It's weird, because I don't know how they're going to do this, because we have... I'm not going to show it in the video, really, but there is a side-by-side clip on YouTube that, shows some of the remaster side-by-side, where this is way brighter on the left, and then on the right you have, this darker version. It does look more colorful. I think that because you have scan lines and stuff in the original that sometimes don't look good, and that's been a little bit removed, along with clearing the picture up. The one thing I don't like is that in the original, in this shot with Bruce Wayne, is that his face is all pale and stuff, which looked really cool.
Yeah.
In the new one, it just looks like normal.
Yeah, it looks like he's got his color and everything.
Yeah.
Where, after this scene, and they show in the trailer, he's kind of, gasping and panting. Almost looks like he's about to have a heart attack. So, I mean, it's... I don't know. I think it'll still look good. I think I'll love it still, and I'm really excited to see Return of the Joker in Blu-ray. But it's definitely, I can see why it's controversial, though. It's quite a bit different.
It's hard to remaster this kind of stuff. Not to excuse it, but,
And to make everyone happy, too? There's no way.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Not that you shouldn't try, because you should, but at the end of the day, I think they are doing their best with it. I think it does look noticeably cleaned up. As someone who grew up watching the DVD copies of them, this looks nicer, I think. And those DVD copies, I'm just going to say, they're dirt cheap. They're worthless.
Yeah,
right?
They are.
Now they're worthless. So if you really want to, if you're purist about it, and you don't want these color changes, you can go out and pick this up and play the DVDs on a Blu-ray player. It'll upscale automatically to 1080p on the DVDs. So there is a way to watch it without getting this change, is all I'm saying. And unlike Halloween and some of these other ones, I think it's very easy to find. The only question I think this presents again to me, without getting too deep into that Blu-ray discussion, is in the future when there aren't really a lot of physical things, it's even more niche, is it going to be hard to find the unaltered versions of these shows and movies? Because I think it will be. And I think that sucks.
It'll kind of get rid of the nostalgia a bit.
Yeah. So I think if this is something that matters to you, hold on to the copy you have of DVD. You can still get this, but you can even put it in a drawer. But just because you get this doesn't mean you have to automatically toss that. You
still have it.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. So if that change matters to you, and to some people they won't even notice it.
Right.
That's really it for entertainment news.
Yeah, there's just one last thing we needed to get to quick. It was Fallout 76.
Yeah, and again, I don't have a lot on this one. They screwed the game up worse. They introduced an art patch that really hurt drop rates for legendary items, made parts of the game not run as well. There's a big backlash from the Bethesda Fallout community right now where they're like, why don't you have some kind of beta testing program for these things where we can try out the patches before you release them? Like Overwatch has that, where sometimes they'll release patches in a limited capacity to, like, I don't remember what they're called, but they're people who try the patches out first, like players that have signed up for that program. Then they all play together, and they see, like, well, what's broken? What did this introduce that caused a problem? Bethesda doesn't have that for some reason with this game. I think that's a mistake. I think you're seeing a lot of growing pains. Adding NPCs to that game was a good step, but we have hit the point where no one cares, really. Like, there's players, but a lot of people have moved on. Anthem situation, I would say, in a way.
Yeah, we're just people I think people were excited for it. They gave it a shot and it just didn't work. So now it's just, well, sure, you've added some stuff, but I mean, there are situations I feel like where you can fix a game like Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Or No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
And bring people back.
Right, and people come back and they really enjoy it. It's a quality game. You can't launch a game that doesn't do well first and then keep launching bad stuff on top of that.
Yeah, that's kind of what this is that it has never improved significantly.
Which is the problem. That's why they're basically giving the game away at this point.
Yeah.
So it's sad that it didn't work out. Hopefully they learn from it. They usually make phenomenal games.
And I hope they do keep adding to it. Like, it sucks for people who bought this if they just dump it eventually.
Right.
I would love to play the game at some point if it ever became good. Because I don't play Fallout games to play with 100 other people, so I don't care how many people are on it. I play them to play with me.
Right.
So, like, if this becomes good in a year from now, it's like a really good game, I'd pick this up for $15-20, play it with Nate for, 15-20 hours and be done with it.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, I'm good with that. But it's not really what they wanted it to be. No. Because of choices they have made. So...
repetitive bad ones.
Yeah, repetitive bad ones. This is the DCEU conundrum again, just to tie it back of, like, you can make a couple mistakes. If you just keep making them, eventually no one cares.
Yeah. They give up.
But in closing here, so movies recently, because we missed this the last 2 times, I have rewatched through all of the MCU movies again. I skipped The Incredible Hulk this time because I think it's bad.
I get that. Yeah.
Or it's like, it's okay. I don't think it's important. They run over the exact plot of it at the beginning of Avengers. Like, they give you a recap of what happened in Hulk.
Oh, that's right.
Through dialogue.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, I think they knew that no one really wanted to watch it.
No, dude, no.
But we've watched through, we just finished Guardians 1. I've been watching with my mom, like, who I said had never watched them before. Loving them. Every single one of them I've liked more. With maybe the exception of Guardians 1, which I still love. It's just, I think I was more impressed with it the first time I saw it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
But everything else, even Thor 2, I had an appreciation for this time. I'm not saying it's great. I just appreciated it more.
Yeah.
The Avengers 1, which I was not at all impressed with the first time I watched it, I enjoyed it a lot more. Just stuff like that. Knowing where things go eventually, I think helped the movies for me.
Yeah.
Because it made me think, like, well, like when I watched Thor 1 and 2, I didn't really care about him, but Ragnarok made me, so retroactively I care about him in these movies more than I did. Yeah. So I guess it's that kind of conundrum for me. But I've really been enjoying it. Another thing, too, that I was trying to think if I've watched any other movies. I really haven't. It's just I've been plowing through the MCU pretty much. I've been watching it like in a Netflix show in a way, just like a movie most days.
Yeah.
Like I'll just watch a movie. And then, like, that's it for the day.
It's great because there's 20-something of them at this point, right? Yeah.
There's a lot. And I also just got a 4K TV, a Samsung, so that's going to be really nice to watch movies on. So I'm looking forward to that. Games, I've still just been playing Arkham City with you, and then I've really gotten back into COD Blackout recently.
Yeah?
That's been a lot of fun.
They added a huge update recently, didn't they? Yeah,
they did. But the Alcatraz version of it is dope. Like, with the zombies and everything.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that has been so fun.
Yeah.
That and then the big new zombies map set in Nuketown.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
okay.
You should try it out.
That's awesome.
What have you been playing?
Well, I was going to say, even for your Marvel Watchathon so far, you're on pace very well for the Endgame Blu-ray release. That's coming out in like a week or two, I think. So that's like the first week of August. So you'll be right on track to pick that up. Watch the next one.
Yeah, and we'll be picking it up. I'm not sure if I'll be quite there at that point or not, but I'll be close.
Right.
I'll be close for sure.
I was going to say, you're pacing well.
The only thing with that, too, is I've been working so much, and then, you have things like Infinity War where it's not 3 hours, but pushing it past 2.5, and then like Endgame, which is pretty much 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
So it gets a little hard sometimes to find the time.
Right. It's a commitment for some of those.
Yeah.
For me, I just actually finished today. I was watching on Netflix, the O.J. Simpson, The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Wow, that's been out for a long time.
I had never
watched it either. Is it good?
It's fantastic. They've got John Travolta in there. They got Cuba Gooding Jr. They got some really good actors in there. They do a fantastic job. I really liked it. And I'm midway through The Imitation Game right now. I don't know if you've seen that at all.
No, what is that?
It's with Benedict Cumberbatch again. And Keira Knightley, I believe is her name. And it's about, it's in World War II, I believe. They're trying to decode the Nazis' messages that they're sending across, and it's about him like building the machine that does that. Because no one could do it; it was like impossible to do it. So it's been really good so far. I'm about halfway through. So
something. Speaking of that, by the way, that I think you should watch on Netflix is The Disappearance of Madeline McCann.
I tried to watch it, didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, I got an episode and a half in, and me and my wife both fell asleep.
It's hard. Like it's hard to watch, but it got so interesting. Like near the end.
That's what. Okay.
That was kind of my opinion on it. However, I was working on my my education thesis thing during that point, where like I would come home and work on it for like 5 hours a night, and like I just watched it in the background, and like I paid attention, but like I'd be working on it, I'd be like looking up for a while, and I'd be like working on it, listening, and like so I kind of went back and forth. I'm sure it'd be different if I was like, you know, glued to the TV.
Right, because that's what I was doing, and I don't know. I heard it was amazing, and we just couldn't get into it. So I don't know.
Did you watch the Ted Bundy tapes?
That we watched, and that was ridiculous.
That was fantastic.
So good.
It was crazy.
The thing is, too, is we even like for the first episode, we were just talking about like his origin story for like the first like
he's in the MCU now.
He is, dude. And like the first 45 minutes were like ugh. And then they got to the point where like he was like about to kill someone, or like they started talking about like how he started, and then we couldn't stop watching for the next 3 episodes. Like it was shocking, like how he escaped, how he got like lost 60 pounds and didn't eat for like a month to sneak through a vent. Crazy, dude. Phenomenal show. Yeah,
there's a lot of on Netflix that's kind of hiding there in plain sight that's still really good,
still fantastic.
Have you been playing anything recently?
Yeah, I mean, still dabbling in Rocket League, to be honest, but then I also started Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I finally started it.
Oh, nice.
And just started diving in. So I'm about 7 hours in right now, and it's really good. I was kind of holding off just because I was like, well, I've heard it's like a 50-hour campaign, and that's a commitment. So I didn't.
That certainly is a commitment.
I didn't want to dive in too hard, and I was like, well, I'm playing other stuff anyways. Kind of hit a lull, so I thought I'd try it, and it's really, really good. There's a lot going on with it. There's so much to do. It's not linear. Really is, you know, kind of like one thing that you had said. It's not like that. It's
you mean like about
like Last of Us, for example. It's not like that.
Right.
Or even other Assassin's Creed games. Really, like you do something, your decisions impact the game. They have like different options that show you like, hey, if you choose this option, it will change certain small things about the game. So it's really cool. The combat's great. I'm having a good time. So yeah, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. A little late to the party, but it's great.
No, and that's fantastic. Sometimes like I find some of the best games to me are after all the hype died down. I can just play it at my own pace.
Yes.
I love playing new stuff sometimes, but I'm not really like a jump on the bandwagon, need to play it now person.
Right.
So I think that's a great way to enjoy that. I think that's all we've got for this week, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was a lot.
I think this is our longest episode so far, actually.
Probably.
But yeah, it was Comic-Con. There was so much to cover with Marvel and DC. And yeah, there's a lot going on. So yeah.
So we'll have to see what comes out in the next week here, like especially because I think there's going to be some more stuff in the aftermath of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot going on. But guys, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of today's episode. Were you a fan? Where would you put the Ted Bundy tapes in the MCU timeline? Is that prior to Iron Man 1 or post Iron Man 1? That's kind of the question that I've been leaning on, really. And are you excited for Phase 69 with Kevin Feige's Pimp Master movie? We'll see you in the next one, everybody. And good night. Was it Ron Burgundy says?
Thank you, San Diego.
Thank you, San Diego. Comic-Con.
Yeah.